Alright guys, that's Kremp again. So I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day. So far, big changes around the CDL yesterday. ZooMaa confirming the brand new Stallions lineup going into the Challengers World Championship that they will attempt to qualify for the World Cup for. Big drama here, of course, because this was K-Sun's team just a few days ago. Lots of reaction to that one, and Nadeshot giving his opinion on the state of Call of Duty right now, and the fact that as far as he's concerned, it's pretty broken from top to bottom. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. As always, we are going to start here. This is the trailer for the Esports World Cup docuseries that they announced recently. This, of course, is out there in Riyadh for the World Cup that we saw last year, and they'll likely do this again this year as well with all of the other things that they've currently got planned for this season. Of course, it's the end of July, the Call of Duty stuff, and, well, this seems to be pretty epic. It's coming out in a couple of days' time. There is, of course, notably here a feature from this brief segment onwards of Drazah, right? Now, I told you guys yesterday that I'd heard a couple of things that they were doing this, and I wasn't sure if they were going to go like the full Monty with it, but like, you know, it's the Esports World Cup. This is what they do. So they flew a camera team out there to Alaska, and here he is, right? I actually thought this is a really cool little segment, driving his little, I mean, look at this guy. So anyway, this is Drazah. He's obviously doing a bit of voiceover stuff. He did have another couple of moments later in the episode, or later in the trailer as well, and I think there's another kind of very brief clip of him in a second here that I'll share for you guys. I think it's, yeah, here it is anyway. So here's Drazah once again on the screen. So anyway, this is what's happening. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work because they described 5 episodes, many stories. So yeah, it's not exactly going to be like one episode per character, as it were. I imagine Drazah's story will be in one of the episodes. Which one, I'm not 100% sure yet. But I think they're going to do, yeah, a new episode every week, effectively leading up to the start of the World Cup. That seems to be the plan anyway. So as yet, I'm not 100% sure which one of these episodes Drazah's piece is going to be in. I mean, it could be in the first one because that's Hisoka, right? And that's Call of Duty stuff. So maybe they'll do that. And I imagine that they'll do a similar thing at the World Cup this year and follow probably another player, because it seems like they followed players from the big esports, really. They, you know, I mean, the majority of them probably have some representation here, but certainly on the CoD side, that's the case with Drazah. And the story is great. I mean, hailing from Alaska, of course, he actually won the event as well with FaZe. So this year, I wonder who they'll choose, because, you know, they'll probably want to choose a player who's likely to do quite well and also has a very interesting background. So, yeah, intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below on that one, whether they do this again, and I'm sure it's going to turn out to be pretty good because, you know, they do not skimp out when it comes to budget on this type of content. And, you know, hopefully this could be the start of something as well. I know that there was talk, especially with, you know, Drive to Survive coming around, Formula 1, about doing something. They've got the tennis one, they've got the golf one, these other things now. There was some talk at a time about doing it in esports as well. And look, you know, we're biased on the channel, but the personalities in competitive CoD are pretty damn exciting. So if this goes well, hopefully it could be a sign of something to come. And actually, interestingly enough, Minnesota Rocker are going to be doing a watch party for this. So they're doing a Rocker, okay, it's 2 things. It's a Rocker meet and greet with the team and a Joe meet and greet, and then EWC documentary watch party when this launches in New York, interestingly enough. So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, there's a community tournament cash prize 5k. You can meet these guys, watch party the new documentary when it launches. Actually a pretty damn cool idea. Now, of course, I didn't really look at this before now. I just got ready for the video. I was kind of expecting it to be maybe in Minnesota somewhere, but that's not how it is. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, right? Like, Rocker did those events. They did those watch parties, those kind of like home events that they ran. And, you know, they were one of the only organizations really to be supporting that local area, which they have dominion over. Other organizations did to some degree, but, you know, Rocker, Toronto were 2 of the organizations right up there. Don't know what it looks like for the league over the next couple of years. Potential changes to whether we need city-based stuff anymore, whether that's going to stay or go. Look, my personal feeling is it's not going to last forever. I think it's a matter of time until the city-based stuff disappears, but we'll see. It may be a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years. I don't know. But because Rocker now are partnered with G2, you know, they will represent G2 at the World Cup, for example. There's got to be something in that, I imagine. And, you know, it's also been a discussion about Envy. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse here, but it's got to be worthy of mention anyway, that Envy are officially back in Rainbow Six as of yesterday. So, yeah, they're picking up a load of teams, aren't they, right? And maybe Call of Duty is next, maybe it's not, I guess we'll see. This is from Sam Phoenix, of course. He coached the Seattle Surge. He coached the Vegas Legion briefly as well and had some success, especially with the Surge organization. And honestly, a great guy. Like, you know, when you run into Phoenix, you know, at events and stuff, so much energy, so much passion this guy has for the scene. But as he says, you know, he's decided that he's going to walk away from competitive gaming after 13 years as a coach. Hardest decision that I've made to date, but he's going to go to engineering school soon, so wishing him the best with that. Moving in a month-ish, so he's decided that he's going to step away. So, you know, he's done a couple of things. Obviously, Overwatch, Call of Duty, of course, the team that he won with and everything that happened on Seattle was, you know, really cool. Of course, like, Phoenix did catch a bit of flack because let's not forget when Gwyn was sitting on the bench the whole year and there was lots of talk about whether, you know, they could have done something there or not. But yeah, lots of retirement slightly from the competitive CoD scene, unfortunately. And look, maybe he goes to college and there's an opportunity to still coach one of the collegiate teams. I don't know. Maybe there's still a future in it because, you know, certainly brought the energy. This is another, though, big story of yesterday, and it's the Stallions. They are officially back. Now, this maybe will come as no real surprise, and it's been a big talking point of the last few days because, of course, the Stallions had their team with Swooty and everybody else, and there was a big, you know, drama about it, Swooty, symbols, and everything that happened recently. I do wonder whether Swooty will come back. Like, you know, will they decide Stallions and ZooMaa next year that that's the team they're going to pick up Swooty and others? Look, as good I think as Swooty could be, he doesn't have the best reputation right now among the challenger players, and therefore it's difficult for Stallions to probably put together a team that's going to be contending with Swooty on it. Not necessarily because he isn't good enough potentially, it's just the way that things are. So anyway, Stallions stuck by that team. They gave it a good go. They went to the last chance qualifier. They didn't win. The team that did win was FC Draco, the team kind of funded by Kaysan, right? Now, whether that was going to be a long-term thing was always a matter for debate, and I think that potentially this was always part of the plan. At such time where they qualified, which they eventually did, Stallions would step in and take over one of those teams that are going to be there at the Challengers World Championship, and this is the team that they're going to take over. So, as Stallions say, if you can't beat them, poach them right under Rafi and Kaysan's noses. The Stallions will be at the Challengers World Championship, #Dark Horse, and this is going to be the roster. They did really well in the qualifier to make it. Asim, Niem, Hamza, Frosty, and Trex. Honestly, a really talented team. Interesting, they've got Jiren and Major Maniac as coaches of the team. So, because of course Major Maniac played in the LCQ and maybe, you know, has now decided for, you know, a brief period of time, maybe that going into coaching could be a good idea. I do think for Major Maniac that coaching seems like a sensible next step for him. I don't think he's really, you know, done a tweet about it or anything quite as of yet. Maybe there's been a bit of talk about it over the last couple of days with the team that ended up qualifying because they lost to those guys. And now Major Maniac's with those guys potentially as a coach. And I do think that the way that Major Maniac is, his proficiency in search and destroy and his mentality possibly makes him a rather good fit as a coach in the future. So it's something to think about anyway for Maniac, because, you know, let's say he coaches this team and they do really well, you know, then there's all sorts of talk for next season about whether, you know, he could be a valuable asset. Kaysan was in the replies and says, no loyalty at this, right? There's always a solution. So, you know, I thought it was pretty nice to see from both parties, and Stallions will be there at the World Championship for Challenges, and if they get top 3, then they will be at the World Cup as well. Of course, it is worthy of note that last year the Stallions were also at the World Cup. That year's team was Asim, Rex, Exceed, and Brack. So I know that again there's going to be talk. Here we go again. ZooMaa giving his boy Asim a job or whatever. But I mean, look, the numbers do speak for themselves. To be fair, that he picks up Asim's team again, and look, Asim's a quality player. But it's obviously been a talking point in the scene, hasn't it, the last couple of years about that relationship. But look, ZooMaa's money can do what it likes. And Brack, Exceed, Rex, and Asim, that was the roster last year. They actually did pretty well. Came top 12 out of top 16, and then this year potentially Stallions are going to be back there with the World Cup as well. Just before I share the Nadeshot clip, you know, someone who actually looks like he's hacking is sometimes Kicks. Now, we don't really know what happened with Kicks. The prevailing theory that I've seen going around on social media seems to be that Kicks just preferred being at home, right? Like, he just didn't really like it being in the States. And I also don't know what Kix's like background is, you know, what family he comes from and things like this. But look, it's maybe understandable that Kix felt in some capacity that, well, you know, do I really want to stay in the States and just get slammed every week? Or should I, you know, go home and play COD down there and, you know, still make a bit of money, because there is money in the Saudi League as well. So, I don't know. It's a shame. It does feel like wasted potential for Kix, because we saw what he was capable of in the league at the start of the year. You know, he was their best player, really. You know, Xnid proved to be pretty good as well. But, you know, Kix certainly a real talent. I mean, you know, this clip that he pulls off here back in the Saudi League is pretty mega. And people are just saying, look, please, Clay, throw someone in for him, because, you know, it is a fair point, I guess. Yeah, maybe Kix doesn't want to come back to the Americas. But, I mean, possibly if they go to Riyadh anyway for the World Cup, just sub him in, right? And then hopefully it magically works out. But I wanted to share this clip from Nadeshot. He was talking about the state of Call of Duty right now, frustrated about the hackers and various other things. Of course, in Warzone, in Ranked, in various other domains. And look, from top to bottom right now, Call of Duty's in a bit of a struggle. And I think Nadeshot makes it pretty clear what it's like from a player perspective. And then also, you know, kind of from a team owner perspective as well, looking at the state of COD right now.
Honey, I'm about to do a random Call of Duty rant, so don't interrupt me. What you mean? You think Gracie? She would never interrupt me. She actually loves me. Gentlemen, listen to me. Call of Duty has never been worse. And I really, again, I do love this game. But oh my God, there was a hacker in almost every lobby we played today. 8 straight hours. Okay? I know that I'm beating a dead horse here. Repeat episode of your least favorite TV show. Yeah, we might be idiots for still playing this game, but I'm not kidding. Hackers in 8 straight lobbies. 8 hours of straight lobbies. There were 8 straight hours of lobbies that were hacked on. There we go. We finished it up. And the other thing, Season 4 launched. Rank play comes a couple days later after all the server issues. If you were iridescent, you either got brought back down to bronze, or you went back down to diamond, like you should have. I know for a fact that me, Scump, aBeZy, we got sent back down to bronze. Symphony, that bird bitch, he stayed at diamond. He was already 5,000 SR ahead of me when the rank play season started. And they said that they were investigating reports, but nothing has happened. It's been 5 days. So in a ranked playlist with rewards that are dependent on how much SR you get, they're just saying, yeah, it was all fucked up, but we're not resetting nothing. So, man, frustrated. Oh, gentlemen, we might be fucked. We really might. I mean, it's bad.
We also had a sensational Adam Killer Sloss tweet here in the replies. You don't get them too often. I know that some of you guys as well, unfortunately, won't even be particularly familiar with Killer. But what a character, man. What a character. He was the inaugural world champion 2013. He won a famous 1v1 against Proofy to win the world championship on Black Ops 2 for Freako Impact, and had a legendary career before then and shortly after as well. And as he says, you ever thought maybe they want people to cheat? I mean, with all the devil charms and demonic stuff in the past games, maybe there might be a chance they poison the future generations. Just a thought. So I'll leave you with that. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.